Hello, welcome back to our assessment review training. This is part 2 of our assessment review and reporting training. And so today we're going to continue by showing you how to map those findings to the risk register that have been created from the initial assessment review. So let's get into the platform and show you how to do that. All right, so here we are in the platform, and as you can see, we're back in our assessment that we prepared earlier in part 1 of our training, and we've got those answers. As you can see, we've already created our findings. They're tracked here, and then we can see those actual findings in our issues tab, and these will be sent to the vendor now that the findings have been, now that the answers have been accepted. So what we want to do next with these is we want to actually relate them to the vendor record themselves so we can start creating the vendor risk dashboard. And so we want to just go into each finding here, and we're going to go into the edit mode. And we just want to check a couple of things. First, let's make sure that we don't need to edit this finding any further. Then we want to verify that it is connected to the appropriate asset. So in this case, it's the vendor record, as it should be automatically when it's coming from an assessment. And then the next thing we want to do then is just associate this to a risk register. So we can either create a new risk register by clicking the plus sign here. That'll allow us to actually create a risk if we don't find it in our own risk register, or we can just look it up. This is an access risk, so I'm just going to look for access risks in our risk register, and you see it gives me a couple of different options here. So I'm actually going to attach it to both of these and just click apply. And so that's how we connect it to the risk register itself. Save this. We may also want to create a priority for this as well before we do that saving. So it does automatically default to low, but we probably want to look at this and then decide whether this is a high, medium, or low priority. I'm going to put this as a high priority as it's an access issue, and then we can just click save. Now that will track, the vendor will see that when they come in, and they'll be able to add their mitigation plan to this finding record. So we then want to just go ahead and do that to all of our issues. So we can go back to our assessment here and just keep on going through until we've added that to each of our different findings. So same process again. I'm just going to look up the risk register. This was one that I just did as a test. And now I can just apply these. Again, I can prioritize this and save. Now I'm going to do a magic of television act and just complete these other two while you are on pause. Okay, so now that's complete. What I can do with all of my issues is I can see which risks are associated with them. So what I actually want to do now then is go back to my asset. I'm going to do this from another window. And in that asset record, what I'm going to do is just associate the risk registers there to this asset as well. And unauthorized access. Let me just apply those. I can move to my next finding. Now I see I've got malware and client risk. And just do a simple lookup. And just add these. So again, client risk. So again, by the magic of television, I'm just going to add all of these. Okay, so now I've mapped all of the risks related to those findings. Note those issues are being tracked as well here as well. So we've got those 4 issues here tracked against the asset. And then a great thing about the C1 Risk platform is as we bring in those risk registers, any controls that we already have associated to those risks are automatically going to be pulled over. So now you see that all of these internal controls that I've got working against these risks have automatically been added to my asset. And what that's going to do, if I go now to the summary section, so now you can see a summary risk dashboard for our vendor has been created. And it displays so this is the risk score for the vendor. So this is the average residual risk score from all of the different risk registers, residual risk being inherent risk times probability divided by 100. Then, of course, the impact score that we got from our business impact analysis. So understanding the value either of the assets that the vendor is going to be working on in the system. And then our assurance score from the controls that we already have in place. We've got all of our findings that we're tracking and the value of those findings, low, medium, high. And as risk mitigations come in from the vendor, or as we complete them with the vendor, we'll see those risk mitigations being tracked as well. And then last but not least, we have our heat map with basically our likelihood, impact, and probability rating for the vendor. So this is how we're tracking and scoring the vendor in the C1 risk platform, with this risk score being the ultimate score for that vendor. Okay, so this concludes our training for today. Thank you very much.